Good morning. My name is Mike Karin. I'm the music director of our congregation. My pronouns are he and him. And our opening song, our prelude today is There Is a Love by Beth Alexander and Rebecca Parker. I invite you to rise in body or spirit or both and sing along with me on There Is a Love. The words are in your order of service. There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding me. I rest in this. There is a love holding us. This side, please. There is a love holding us. Now this side. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all we rest.
Hello and good morning. My name is Greg Nosan. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm a worship associate here at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Cleveland. Welcome. It's great to be with you here this morning. God bless you. We acknowledge that we're gathering on the original lands of the Erie and of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe peoples, also known as the Three Fires Council. We recognize the need to learn more about our complex and sometimes painful histories, to care for the land we inhabit, and to show respect to the diverse peoples and cultures who preceded us, as well as those who gather here now. Our congregation is working to build relationships with the Lake Erie Native American Council as a way of living into these words. This community strives to celebrate the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Whether you walked in or ran in here on little feet or ambled in or rolled in or are with us virtually, we welcome you. Whatever your age, background, or identity, we are graced by your presence here. Each of us comes with our own beliefs and stories, and we come for lots of reasons: to explore and grow, to know and be known, to love and be loved, and to transform the world. Whether you're here for the first time or the 100th, I hope you'll find connection, inspiration, comfort, and courage in our beloved community. I'd like to offer a special welcome to those of you who are joining us for the very first time. If you're interested in learning more, just complete a guest card, which you'll find in the pew rack in front of you. Place it in the collection plate later in the service, and we'll make sure to get in touch. If you're watching remotely, we invite you to visit our website at uucleveland.org or just to send us an email. As we prepare to enter into sacred time and space, connecting with our deepest selves and one another, please take a moment to set any of your electronic devices to worship mode. Now, please join me in reciting the words of our chalice lighting, found on the yellow card in the pew rack in front of you. Will, this is where you light the chalice. We cultivate trust with one another by celebrating differences, honoring boundaries, and offering compassion and care. We listen to each other deeply with curiosity and wonder. We speak for ourselves without need to defend ourselves or persuade each other. We create safe and brave space for healthy conflict, creativity, and fun. We reconcile through forgiving and making amends when we hurt one another.
Good morning. Let's take a deep breath together. Each week, this congregation comes together. We filter into this space, into the nooks and crannies, into our favorite pews, merry meet. And every week we depart, merry part. We take ourselves from this place. We travel through our daily lives, returning here each week, the in and the out. It's like breath. It's our church breathing. Instead of breathing the oxygen, the church takes us in. The congregation takes us in. We light a chalice each week where the respiration happens, the burning, the holy things happen. We are exhaled to cycle through our days, to offer our attention to the lonely, to comfort the scared, to feed the hungry, to be comforted, to be fed, to dare to care more, to take in more people, to like more people, even to love more people. We laugh with them, we cry with them, to see them as their whole life manifests genuinely. And then we come here each week and the church inhales. We learn to grow, we learn about ourselves. The circles get wider, like the lungs of a tuba player. The more one practices, the bigger the breath. Our breathing draws more of us in, our circles draw wider, the in, the out. We draw our circle even wider yet. On this day, I greet you. I am Reverend Will Humphrey. I serve our sibling congregation at East Shore. We breathe in, we breathe out, and we welcome one another. So let us welcome each other. Take a moment, find somebody who you may not know, find somebody who you haven't spoken to yet today, shake a hand, offer a hug, get consent first. And let's welcome one another. Good morning.
During these gray months of winter when we all long for a little more light, we have a tradition of an extended Chalaka observance, lighting candles each week to recognize the light that our spiritual values shed in the world. We hope that you're able to spend a little time with the spiritual practice in your own home as well. This fifth Sunday of Chalaka, we lift up our values of generosity, through which we cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. We covenant to freely and compassionately share our faith, presence, and resources. Our generosity connects us to one another in relationships of interdependence and mutuality. And for those of you who might not know what the Chalaka candles are, they're the colored ones in back of us, and I've already lit all of the ones that need to be lit for today, so no one will be popping up to light the Chalaka candle.
A part of our coming together each week is to share a little bit of who we are, who we aspire to be, who we love, what we dare to dream about. We share these as joys and concerns, and we write them in the book in the front of the sanctuary. For those joining us online, I welcome you to write your joys and concerns in the chat, and I will read the ones from the book. The first joy is mine. It is my joy to be here with you all today. Celebrating our son Brad's birthday this Tuesday past. He would have been 38 years old. He died by suicide on October 31st in 2016. We miss him very much. We are so grateful for this congregation, for your care and support. Our prayers are with you. In a moment, we'll have our stone water ritual. I invite you to place a stone in the bowl, imbue it with the joys that you have, with the concerns that you have. Welcome. pray with me? Breath of life. Our chalice is burning. The stones and the water have connected. The elements are together. Let the fire and the earth and the air and the water embolden us to dream our dreams with our mind and our body, the sweat of our brow, and our deep concern, our heart. As we age, as our abilities fade, as the world changes and the wheel turns, let us find peace. Let us build peace. Let it begin inside of all of us. May it be so. So here we have the lantern, our object lesson for today. And so I have a story to share. Long ago, in a quiet valley surrounded by rugged mountains, there was a lantern maker named Jonas. The valley was once known for its harmony, but in recent years, fear and distrust had spread like wildfire. A new leader in the highlands, just beyond the valley, preached that only a chosen few, had worth, and that power came from silencing others. Many villagers embraced these words, including Jonas's neighbors. The valley's once open fields were now divided by fences. And the marketplace that once was filled with laughter and debate became silent with suspicion. Jonas avoided the quarrels and focused in on his craft, poured his heart into making these lanterns that glowed with a warm and steady light. To him, each lantern represented hope, a small rebellion against the growing darkness. One evening, a man named Victor visited Jonas's workshop. Bless you. Victor was loud and brash. Picture maybe a combination of Gaston with Mr. Burns. His voice was filled with certainty. "Jonas," he said, "you're wasting your talent. Why make lanterns for everyone when only some people deserve the light? If you give me your brightest lantern, I'll ensure it's used for those of us who it's truly for." Jonas hesitated. Victor's words stirred something in him. Does he align with the power and protect himself from the valley's growing chaos? But Jonas had this doubt inside of him, this nagging feeling that he couldn't deny the light to others. That night he sat by the fire, at his hearth, and the flames danced in strange shapes. He dreamed of a vast, unlit world where shadows whispered division and despair. In the center stood a single lantern, flickering with uncertainty. When Jonas reached for it, he heard a gentle voice. "This light is not yours to hoard. It belongs to all, or it belongs to none." Jonas woke up with resolve. The next morning, a traveler arrived at the workshop, cloaked in humility and weariness. "I have no money," she said, her soft voice wavering. "And I've been told people like me don't belong in this valley. But I've heard of your lanterns, and I need one to find my way." Jonas handed her his finest lantern without any hesitation. "This light is yours as much as anyone's." But remember, it grows brighter when it guides those who are lost. Word spread of Jonas's generosity, and his workshop became a beacon. Yet not all welcomed his actions. Victor and his followers accused Jonas of weakening the valley by giving light to outsiders, to undesirables. They marched to his door one evening, demanding that he choose his sides. Jonas met them at the threshold, holding a lantern that glowed. And this time it glowed brighter than any time before. This light, he said, is not mine to give or withhold. It shines because it belongs to all of us. If you try to claim it for yourself, it will fade. Victor sneered, "Empty words. You'll see the truth when your light is snuffed out." But Victor reached for the lantern, and something remarkable happened. Its glow spilled over him, illuminating the pain and the fear hidden beneath his bravado. The crowd saw this humility coming from him, and for the first time they hesitated. Jonas stepped forward, offering these words: "Fear builds walls, but love builds bridges. The light you see here doesn't diminish when it's shared, it grows. What if instead of fighting for who owns it, what if we used it to guide each other?" Victor faltered, retreating. Some of his followers turned away, their heads bowed in thought, but others stayed, their faces softening as they allowed the light to touch them. From that day, the valley began to change. The fences came down. The marketplace was filled once again with voices, not always in agreement, but in shared commitment to seeing each other's humanity. Jonas continued to make lanterns, and each one a reminder: the light of love and justice is a gift to be shared, even in the darkest times. Love that brings people together reveals the worth of every soul.
Started in 2011, the Northeast Ohio Black Health Coalition is the first organization in Ohio to address health disparities specifically in the African American community. Founded to combat inequities in education, employment, housing, and health, the NEOBHC works tirelessly to empower, inform, and advocate for underserved populations in Cleveland. The coalition story begins with its founder and executive director, Ivanka M. Hall, who, through childhood tragedy, compounded by multiple subsequent losses, came to understand firsthand health disparities have for African American communities. Whether it's speaking out against environmental injustice, systemic racism, cardiovascular disease, infant mortality, domestic violence, mental illness, juvenile justice, or inequities in employment and education, Ivanka and her colleagues use their voices to make a difference in the lives of others. To raise money for their efforts, the coalition sells t-shirts, hosts luncheons, organizes conferences, and even sells healthy soul food. Their most significant support, however, comes from memberships and donations from folks like us. Please place your offering, cash or check, made payable to UUCC in the collection plate as it is passed. You can also contribute via Cash App to $UUCC 44122. Please use the memo line to indicate today's date and our plate recipient, Northeast Ohio Black Health Coalition.
Our reading today is an excerpt from The Almond Trees by Albert Camus, 1940. You know, Napoleon once said to Fontaine, "What astounds me most about the world, the impotent force to establish anything. There are only two powers in the world, the sword and the mind. In the end, the sword always is conquered by the mind. Conquerors, you see, are sometimes melancholy. They have to pay the price for so much vain glory. But what in 100 years was true of the sword is no longer true of the tank. Conquerors have made progress, and the dismal silence of places without intelligence has been established. The task is endless, and it's true, but we are here to pursue it. I do not have enough faith and reason to subscribe to a belief in progress or to any philosophy of history. But I do believe, at least, that humanity's awareness of our destiny has never ceased to advance. We have not overcome this condition, and yet we know it better. We know that we live in contradiction, and we also know that we must refuse this contradiction to do what is needed. Our tasks as humans is to find the few principles that will calm the infinite anguish of free souls. We must mend what has been torn apart, make justice imaginable again in a world so obviously unjust. To give happiness and meaning once more to peoples poisoned by the misery of the century. Naturally, this is a superhuman task. But superhuman is the term for tasks that we take a long time to accomplish. That's all. Praise God.
Here's a meditation by Greg Ward called To Carry the Light Forward. If we are lucky, we will all get a chance during our life to know someone who becomes for us an exemplar of living. And if we are really lucky, we will recognize how they ended up passing on some of their goodness to us, if we are lucky. But one thing is certain. No one, not one of us, entering this world can escape the cost of living. The price we pay is this: to live in the world, we must accept that someday we will have to die. To love what is alive, we must accept having to lose what we've made precious through our care. To be fully and fiercely human, we must accept having to be breakable and sometimes broken. When we stop to notice how their life gave us a path and a little light to see by, it helps us to help carry that light forward. Though each of us carries forth in this world a small flame, we know that the ability of that light to brighten the world depends upon the many others who learn to walk with it in their hearts.
Hi, everyone. Happy Groundhog Day. Does anybody know the results? Did Puxatawny Phil see a shadow, or Buckeye Chuck? So is it that if they see their shadow, it's 6 weeks of winter? But if they don't, springing to hope? Wintry despair? And we got wintry despair, right? No, we got spring? Winter and joy. So I like this. I like the talk back. So throughout this, please. Absolutely. There's something in you, something in each of us that waits and listens for the sound of the genuine in other people. And if you can't hear it, then you're reduced by that much. The Reverend Dr. Howard Thurman wrote that. He went on to say that if I were to ask you, what's the one thing that you most desire in life? You would say a lot of things off the top of your head, most of which you wouldn't believe. But you'd think that you were saying the things that I thought you ought to think and should say. But if you were stripped to whatever there is in you that is literal and irreducible, and you tried to answer that question, it might come out something like this. I want to feel that I am thoroughly and completely understood, so that now and then I can take my guard down and look around and not feel that I will be destroyed with my defenses down. How true is that? Can we truly hear the sound of the genuine in each other? So we have this thing inside of ourselves, and we got to protect it. We can't let those defenses down. There are real predators out there. Not just the ones who eat up groundhogs. There's a real threat. The icy war machine is revving. The record profits abound while so many of us struggle. We're told every day that we should be afraid. That someone's coming for our job, or somebody's coming to take our home, or take our safety, to take our life. And who benefits when we are afraid? Fear is a tool of control. It divides us. It tells us that we must protect ourselves, that there isn't enough to go around, that love, safety, security, dignity are in short supply. And it can't be written off with some order. That's a lie. Poverty exists not because we can't feed the poor, because we can't satisfy the rich. Peace is not achieved by silencing the oppressed, but by responding to their cries. Progress is not measured by wealth, but by the well-being of the most vulnerable. Sometimes I see this and I long for the time before I knew such things. I see this and I want to run back to my burrow, waiting for the end of this winter. But I see this and I know all of us need all of us to make it. Turn to your neighbor and say those words. All of us need all of us to make it. Those are the words of my colleague, the Reverend Julian Soto. So what does that mean, all of us? Amen. At our core, we want to be loved. We want to be seen. We want to know that our presence matters. I know that's true for me. Is that true for you? Yet we live in this world where so many are unseen, where cries of justice are ignored, where those in power would rather silence the suffering than address the cause. And our faith, our tradition calls us to bear witness, to listen, not to argue, not to fix, but to hear. To hear the voices of those who have been cast aside, to hear the voices of those who have been told that they do not matter, to hear the voices of those who have been waiting, sometimes for generations. Because if we cannot by that much, there is a and it is a spiritual act. To show up as our full selves encourages armor. To be seen, fully seen, it's an act of courage to trust. Because love, real requires trust. We don't have to do this alone, because all of us need all of us to make it. That's not just a slogan or a bumper sticker. It's our tradition. Love is not passive. It is not simply a feeling. Love is an act of resistance. As allies and accomplices and advocates, love pushes back against fear. Love pushes back against oppression. Love is the force that moves us from despair to hope, from winter to spring, from isolation to community. If we say that we are a people of love, where love is our center, then we must also be a people of justice. Love that feeds the hungry and welcomes the stranger and frees the captive. Love that dismantles supremacy and reclaims humanity. Love that does not look away, does not hide in a burrow. But what shadows have you hidden in? What fears have kept you from stepping fully into the light? How will you carry the light forward? How will you in your home, in your workplace, in your community reflect the truth that all of us need all of us to make it? Will you rise in body or spirit? Rise up. Let us listen for the genuine. Let us bear witness to truth. Let us love so fiercely that the world cannot help but be transformed. And you might be asking, what will guide us? Let us sing. Love will guide us.
Hi there. I have a few announcements about things that are happening that I'd like to share with you. Next Sunday, February 9th, we'll have our congregational meal after the service. The kitchen crew is providing the main dish, and everyone else can bring sides and desserts. Our friends from Hiti, Di Francesco, and Siebel, those are our architects, will be present to guide a conversation about what we need from our building and what it needs from us. Number 2 is about something going on at FDR. And FDR, as you'll remember, is a pre-K Cleveland Metro School District school in the Glenville area. And we've been partners with them for 9 years. Prior to COVID, one of our contributions was fundraising for the 8th graders to visit Washington, D.C. And I think that all of us understand what a profound experience that can be. I did that in 8th grade, actually. We now have an opportunity to support this life-changing experience again. and FDR and other community partners are busy fundraising, and we want to make sure that their dream can come true. This trip will cost about $22,000 in total. Using round figures, this means it costs about $425 per person. A contribution in any amount could help, and we wonder if you could afford to sponsor a student. Part of a sponsorship. Becky Burns, Mary Ellen McNulty, Pam Gibbon, and Lori Albright will be at a table in Fellowship Hall after the service today and again on February 16th to support your donations. Or you can go to our website, making sure you note FDR DC trip in the memo line to contribute online. We need to complete our fundraising before the end of February. So if you have more questions or want to talk, you can find Becky, Mary Ellen, Pam, and Lori again at the table for the trip itinerary and to talk with you about anything you'd like. And number 3, last and not least, there will be a table in Fellowship Hall today to help volunteers get connected with Youth Academy events. Thank you. Seems like the question was, can we use Cash App to donate? I believe so, and Lori, it sounds like you responded yes. Okay. Terrific. Thank you for the question and the answer. Yep.
To our benediction, go in peace, cause good trouble, and carry the light forward. Amen.
Thanks for that reminder. I thought it was all done, didn't I? Okay. Please join me in extinguishing the chalice with the words found on the back of the yellow card in the pew rack in front of you. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.